happy Wednesday evening to everyone. Hope everyone is having a marvelous Wednesday. And I am going to bring the guests on momentarily. Before I do that, I posted a comment yesterday, or posed a question to everyone about what your thoughts are on platonic friendships with the opposite sex. And so you guys really engaged with me on that conversation. And so we're going to talk about it tonight. We are going to talk about it. And so I'm going to first, before I even bring my guest in, I want to tell you guys some things. So I have a great deal of male friends. So I have a very different type of situation than a lot of people. And so I want to definitely have a open, honest conversation about what that looks like for me, because I know there's a lot of buzz about this particular topic. And so a lot of people talk about it, but we're going to kind of dig a little bit deep into this conversation. So I'm going to bring my guests on and we're going to get right into this conversation. So my guest is about to come in and we're going to get started. What's up? Okay, so I can formally introduce you guys. This is one of my best friends. Oh, your screen is freezing up. Okay, you're back. So this is one of my best friends. We have been best friends for now over 20 years. I used to say 20 years before we got to 20 years because it felt that way. But prior to him being my best friend, I had a best friend and brother that passed away back in 2013. And I feel like Tart was the little brother to him and still the bigger brother to me. And so he has definitely been an amazing friend for a very long time. We've gone through a lot of different things. I mean, a lot. So
absolutely. Too much.
So that said, I'm gonna let Jermaine, who I call Tart, I'm gonna let him introduce himself to you all, and he can share whatever he wants to share with you all, and then we're gonna get right into the conversation.
You know, this ain't my strong suit. I'm Jermaine. I'm also Tart. I'm Jay. I got several names, so you can call me any.
Call him Tart.
Known kid since we worked in Express Scripts, customer service. Come a long way. So she wasn't always this smart, but she always had that big mouth.
Shut up. Okay.
So it's my little big sister.
Well, I'm your little big sister. Don't start that.
You know why. You know why I'm going up here with it.
Okay, y'all. So the question was posed yesterday, and actually Tart and I have had this conversation over the years a lot. We have continually talked about the fact that a lot of people will say that they don't believe in platonic friends. They don't believe that that can happen. They're like, no, it's got to be something romantic. It's got to be something sexually. It's got to be, and I feel like that's a stigma attached to male-female friendships. I've always been a person, as a woman, as a young girl, who had a lot of male friends. I was a tomboy growing up. My uncle and my grandfather treated me like I was a boy. So for a long time, I thought I was a boy. I have interest in a lot of the things that boys and men have had interest in. And so I connected with boys and men because of those things. I've always liked sports. Basketball and boxing are my two favorite sports. And coincidentally, Tart and I share the same, sports hobbies, interests. So we both share the love, and we have the same favorite basketball team, Lakers. And our favorite player was Kobe.
Kobe Bean.
So had a lot of similarities, a lot of the same interests. And so a lot of times it's those things. The same things that bring you together as a friend with the same sex are the same things that can bring you together with the opposite sex. So that can very well exist in a healthy space. Now, one of the things that I want to say before I kind of let you give your 2 cents about this particular topic, Tart, is the stigma that you get as a man from people being friends with women. Like, because I feel like from women, it's not as much where people are like, there's no way you can be friends with him. But I feel like men get a lot of that, like, there's no way you can be friends with her. So, like, what's your take and what's been your experience as it relates to, like, what people's perception is or what people's thoughts are with that? And, like, then we'll kind of talk about our journey of friendship and what that's looked like.
Yeah, well, men are always like, you ain't hit that. That's like always the first question, or you ain't trying to, or she ain't let you, kind of things along that line. Or it's always kind of, it's like it's either you tried and failed or you are about to try. But I mean, I have, like you, I have several female friends. I just, I grew up with my sister is my best friend. We're 1 year apart. So I've always had relationships with women that are girls that were purely platonic. I mean, I don't necessarily need anything from you. And you can't sleep with everybody. You just can't. You know, men, I'm sure some men come out, shoot, I'll try. But yeah, no, you're not.
Yeah.
It's just impossible. But, it, women have, like you have helped me evolve, as a man in relationships. And I know, like in the comments, they were talking about trust a lot. I think that you and other female friends are probably more keeping me in line with relationships over the years, not cheating. Whereas, men friends be like, hey, you ain't married, or even if you are, it don't matter. So women keep you in line. So a true
Yeah.
female friend will do that.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I actually pointed out that same thing. I noticed that most people put trust in there, and it's like you shouldn't be in any relationship without trust, period, right? So no matter who comes into the equation, co-worker, friend, whatever, random person, you shouldn't be in a relationship with your partner if you don't trust them. So that was an interesting thing to me, and I think very differently. We talk about this often. I think very differently than a lot of people, and particularly women. So I don't want to be in a relationship where I have to question your actions. I'm not going to even, we're not going to be in that space together, but we're not going to cross the space of being in a relationship if I don't trust you. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we tend to miss the things that we can learn from other people. That I have friends that are women that I learn from, and I have friends that are men that I learn from. Being able to have that balance is good. And quite honestly, if I can be completely honest, and I am going to be, I get a lot of times I get great advice from my male friends because a lot of times they're not emotionally tied to all of those things. So they can just give me a pure, unemotional answer that it has nothing to do with emotions. It's just strictly, hey, Kia, this is how I see it. And there's not all this emotion tied to it, like, but that's gonna hurt and it's gonna feel like men take the fluff out of it a lot of times. Right. And then my male friends also know, like, if I need a gentle kind of, Kia, let me kind of, you don't do that. But a lot of my other male friends, some of them know me enough to be like, okay, let me kind of tread lightly with her because she's kind of in her feelings because I'm known as the gangster who cry. So, So with that being said, it's like you can have those things, but the biggest thing, and I'm at the very end when we get to the tail end of the video, Marcus is going to come in, and we're going to actually talk about the benefits that he has been able to see, and what his experience has been as the person in the relationship with someone with the opposite sex friends. Because it's not just you. You're my best friend. You're my male best friend, but I have other male friends as well. And
Yeah,
so,
right the first time.
Shut up. Don't start. So it's for us, we're beyond friends. We've surpassed friends. So we're basically family. He is like my brother, my real brother. My son calls him uncle. My mother calls him son. My family members, they refer to him as your brother. And so the friendships that you build with people, just like same-sex friendships that develop into this family-like bonds, can happen the same way with the opposite sex. Now, what I will say is it takes communication early on so that when you get in a relationship, it's not an issue. When Tart and I first met, we were both in relationships. So he was in a relationship. Well, you were single.
Got out of one.
But you
were
kind of doing your thing and got out of a relationship. But I was in a relationship. And I was living with the person that I was with at that time. And so that the person that I was with at the time, he completely accepted it. It was never a question. It was never an issue that I went to work and I became friends with a man. It was never an issue. Maybe because the stuff he was doing, he never even questioned it. He was just like, okay, that's your friend, that's your boy, okay. But ever since then, so in the 20 years, I've had quite a few relationships. I've had quite a few marriages. I'm sweating. It's hot in here, y'all. I probably should cut the air on. It's a little warm.
And I'm drinking coffee. Oh, that's coffee. Yeah, me too.
So, throughout the years, I have that conversation with anybody that I'm with very early. So the same way that you would have conversations with people early on about your non-negotiables and things like that, I have had those conversations early on. Like, hey, you know what? I have some male friends. Let's talk about this. I don't want this to be an issue. So that it's clear that there's no surprising. Like, there's no pop-up and like, oh, this is my boy. You already know about it. We've had that conversation. We're communicating with each other about that. So I'm gonna leave the floor to you to kind of talk about the dynamics of that for you over the years.
It's been a little difficult, honestly. It really kind of, for me, I kind of do. You're my sister, and you're not going anywhere. So that's kind of how I've approached it. In a lot of relationships in the past, you were my cousin. I just referred to you. This is my cousin kid. That just stuck with that. They knew no different. They know no different today, unless they're in the group. They'll find out. Oh shit, that's not his cousin. Um, my wife, I did tell initially you were cousin Kia, but I think I knew she would meet. I knew she would be around. I knew she would meet more family. And while my brother and sister that's here in St. Louis refer to you as family, the rest of the family know you, but they know you are not family. Although my family is kind of mixed with a lot of white and black, so you would fit right in complexion wise. You'd be right in there, so it wouldn't question it. They'd be like, "Oh, okay." So I've had my issues in that regards there, but you know, I know what I do. I trust me. I trust her too, but I trust me more importantly, and I you, you have been there for me at the lowest times in my life, and so you're gonna be there at the highest and all in between. So that's how I look at it. I'm not doing anything. I mean, I know your family. never the one that she should be concerned with at all.
Yeah, I know. So what I do a lot of times, I'll share this with people. I oftentimes, that is one of the first or second conversations I have with somebody when I first meet them. I let them know, hey, I have male friends, very close male friends, like that are like family to me. I talk to them on the phone, we hang out, etc. Because, and I tell them, I'm telling you this early because that is one of the deal breakers for me, because this is my family. They're not just friends to me. These are people that I've gone through seasons and storms and all kinds of things with. We've had deaths. We've had to mourn together. We've had to rebuild. We've had financial issues where we've been there for each other back and forth. We've had car issues where we've had to be there for each other. We've had the gamut of things that same-sex friendships have. And so we've been able to do that in a healthy way. And so I don't ever want to lose what we have as a family, because it's family. Now, I realize there are different relationships as it relates to that, because I have some male friends that they're not necessarily family, but they're very close friends of mine. So, you and Bobby are family. Y'all have been around for 20 and more. So you all are the people who have been here for me, and I've been there for you through all kinds of ups and downs in life. And it can work. It is a very real thing. And so when people question it, and I mean, I guess this is my question to you. I'm going to answer the question first. Why do you think this is such a challenge for people? My answer is, I think that it's multiple reasons. It can be because you don't trust yourself to be able to do that. You've had issues with that before. Like, some people call somebody that they slept with their friend. And so then they like, when the person find out that it's like, okay, that's not really your friend. Like, y'all actually had a relationship or y'all slept together before. That's not a friend. We're not even including those types of situations. But I think that plays a part as well. I also think that if you haven't had a healthy opposite sex friendship, or maybe you've seen other friendships that weren't healthy, that were opposite sex friendships, you've based your thoughts and your beliefs solely on that without experiencing same-sex friendships on your own. I mean, opposite sex friendships on your own. So, I mean, there's a gamut of reasons, but what do you think is some of the main reasons why people struggle with opposite sex friendships?
Yeah, I mean, think I think that's what you hit on is a lot of it. Um, One thing that I think is it's a control factor. I think people don't like no one likes not having control, and that's something you truly can't control. It's too many what ifs, too many exponent factors that run through your mind that is going to stop you from just letting it be a friend, especially if you haven't had that relationship. You haven't had those types of relationships, and you don't understand. But even then, that's not you. If people can look at it, well, that's not me. I know what I do, but I don't really know what you do. And to let go of that control and let that person be, be their friend is something that I think a lot of people can't do, men and women. I think they both struggle in that regards. Um, of course, I would say I think women struggle with it more. Women can tend to want to have more control. They run a lot of different things, and they want to run that aspect of their life as well, which I understand. But if it's you're with someone, you got to trust that and let go.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna cheat on me, you're gonna cheat on me.
And
It probably ain't your friend.
Yeah, that's been my point to a couple of people. I'm like, if you're gonna cheat, you're gonna cheat. And a lot of times, like, so when we were younger, we used to have different conversations, right? And one of the conversations would be, so if the only person you think that your mate would cheat with is a friend, you're wrong. A lot of times the friend is the one that's talking your friend out of it. A good friend, that's what they're going to do.
You. Yeah.
Right. I've talked you off of that ledge several times. Like, no,
Me
don't
onto
do that.
the
Don't
ledge
do that.
before too,
Huh?
though.
What you
You
say?
talked me onto the ledge once before too. You were like, go ahead
Oh yeah, that was
now.
saying, yeah.
We were younger
But
though.
a lot, but a lot of times I did. I had to be like, come on now, come on, bro. Like, But at the end of the day, it goes back to what I said early on, which is, and I noticed somebody put in the comments insecurity. I can't really see the comments. Let me move this over some.
No,
Um,
absolutely.
it's not always insecurity. I think insecurity does play a part, but that's not always what it is. I just think, and I do think control is a part of it. Not having full control over that, and one of the comments that somebody said yesterday was, "We all have to be friends." I believe you all should know each other, but that don't necessarily mean that because we're friends that you're gonna be best friends with Marcus, right?
Yeah, I
Y'all,
mean,
you all
like you're not best friends with my best friends. I mean, you know them, but
right.
you know, same
So
thing.
you guys will be friendly and cordial and all of that, but he knows who you are. He's met you, he's spoken to you, like so you all know each other, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna be best friends. So when the person commented and said that, my question was, is it more so that you're just an aware acquaintance? Because it's like you're aware and you're acquainted with that person. So you're aware that this person has an opposite sex friend, and you're not in the dark about it. And so
Right.
you're an acquaintance of theirs, but to say you have to be the same level of friendship with them as your mate, that's not always the case. Sometimes it can
Well,
develop like that.
yeah, I think that's almost impossible. Same level anyway is just impossible. And I love Marcus, but
Well, I don't think it's impossible. I think that it happens way less than that's not going to happen a lot. Because again, you and Marcus are good, y'all cool, but we got 20 years in with a
right.
whole lot of stuff so again, it's not going to be at the same level, but at least you all know each other, you're acquainted, you're
Yeah.
friendly, and again, he's not in the dark about it. So
Right.
I'm looking at some of the comments here, and I see people love a false sense of security. Kim says, I don't necessarily think it's the need to control. Elaborate on y'all answers, y'all, so because it's hard for me to scroll and see everything. I'm trying to moderate and talk at the same time. And then Consuela says we can also just be selfish with the time and attention of our partners. I think that's a good point too. And it's tied to control. It is tied to control. It's like I want to be able to control who my partner's with, who they're giving their attention to, why they're giving this type of attention. And so, yeah, I do believe that there's a level of control that's tied to that. Because if you don't have a problem with your mate hanging out with their same sex friends, you good with that. You don't feel the need to control that. Why do you feel the need to control the opposite sex friend? Unless you've been given some type of you catch some type of vibe or something, that's a conversation for you and your mate. These are not scenarios that we're talking about, though. We're talking about actual friendships, people who are in real friendships that you know this is what you're seeing. They're exhibiting signs of true friendship. And that's certainly what we've exhibited. And again, we passed the friendship level, we family. And so how do you get people to understand that? And it's not even about getting people to understand. Let me scratch that, because
Right. I was gonna say that.
I don't really need people to understand anything. I'm just gonna be clear. I don't need you to understand my situation. I don't need you to agree with it. I think that it is advantageous to have friends from all walks of life. I have older friends. I have friends that are my mother's age. I have
Hmm.
younger friends. I have friends that are around my son's age, maybe 4 or 5 years in their early 30s. I can learn from everybody. I can connect with just about anybody. If you have a vibe with somebody, you have a vibe with them. If you guys are connected and you can relate to things, and because let's be honest, connecting with people and having friendships, first, that can be difficult to find. It takes work, and a lot of times people don't want to put in that work to build and strengthen friendships. We've had, how many times have we had fights? Like, not fight physical fights, but
Because I will win.
we don't agree or whatever. The people who can say, whatever, I'm gonna let Kia get mad, I'm gonna let Tori get mad, I'll talk to him tomorrow, I'll talk to her tomorrow. That's friendship. That's family. Because we don't hold on to those things. We value the friendship enough to remove our egos out of those situations. So I think the really important thing is understanding that being open to those situations versus being closed-minded and saying that can't exist, that can't happen, there's no way a male and a female can be friends. I don't believe in that. Like, have you had a opposite sex friend? What has that looked like for you? Maybe there's something that didn't pan out with an opposite sex friend before, and now when you look at other people who have opposite sex friends, it comes across as you're questioning it. You're wondering, is that actually authentic? And so it's a definite thing that it can work. You have been my friend for over 20 years. And out of the 20 years, again, there's a lot of different things that we've had to maneuver through, other relationships and just different things that have happened in life. Those are things you don't throw that away because somebody is insecure in a relationship and be like, I'm going to release my friend who's been here for 20 years because you can't handle me being friends with the person of the opposite sex. Yeah. That's why this is a conversation that comes up for me in the first or second conversation, because that is an actual deal breaker for me. I will not be in a relationship with somebody that tells me, I don't want you to have, and I've had people say that to me, I don't want you to have male friends. Okay, well, it was nice to meet you. Now, I'm not going to if I get in a relationship and get married, you don't come before my spouse, of course, but I'm not releasing my friend because you don't like me to have friends of the opposite sex. And so,
and then I don't even like the word friend. Like you said earlier, we were family. I don't like friend in general because people have so-called friends and they toss them to the side whenever something better comes along or something else comes up. They don't treat their friends like family. And I always say, if you don't have friends like family, then you don't have any friends. If you're not gonna toss aside, you know, auntie and uncle and cousin, no, they're still gonna be those people. Same thing with these relationships that should your friendship should be. You're not gonna just disregard them because now you have a new person in your life. Especially, people come in, you've been here 3 months, and now they're like, well, now I don't. You ain't been talking about Kia. Well, we've been together 3 months. You don't even know my shoe size for real. So I mean, that's we ain't that deep, and I'm definitely not gonna disregard her because of you. I mean, similar. I had somewhat of that issue when you moved to Dallas the first time. You know, and then you came back to St. Louis. I'm like, who is that? Why you hanging out with her? That's my sister. She moved back. She just moved back. Well, of course I ain't with her, but that's what it was. It's like, this is what it is. You should be able to deal with it.
What are your thoughts on new opposite sex friends coming in and you're in a relationship?
See, that's tough because, of course, I've acquired friends since we've, become family. And you always say that ain't your friend and they don't count if you ain't met them, but it do. But like I have, I have younger female friends that I refer to like as my daughter. I'm like, hey, 'cause she calls me dad. I'd be like, hey, I call her daughter. DNA test pending. because I did know her mom. So it's like, baby, back in the day, you never know. But that's just kind of our relationship. So I have those. And does my wife like it? No, but I know me. I'm not doing anything wrong. They're not doing
Yeah.
anything wrong. You kind of gotta, you'll be okay. Is how I look at it. Maybe that ain't the right way to go. I'm not doing anything wrong, but that's me. I have a different outlook. For me, my life changed dramatically when my mom passed. So I have a completely different outlook. I lost the most important person to me. So I look at it like I can take another L. Nothing bigger
Yeah.
than that. That's
So,
messed
and then I'm
up
kind of
on my part.
I'm kind of glad you brought that up because I didn't want to bring it up. So, does that weigh on you that she doesn't like some of your connections and friendships with the opposite sex? Does that weigh on you? Does that make it difficult for you? How does that affect you?
It makes it a little difficult. I still, communicate. I still talk like we're talking now. So I still speak to people and text and have conversations because that's what I'm going to do. It does make it difficult. It's almost like I know she's going to be mad sometimes, or if they call and something important going on to them because they're younger. So like the one in particular, she's younger, so she's going through life. Things are hitting her, so she wants a male perspective, and I'm
Yeah.
like dad, but I'm not dad, so I can give her the truth and her not be worried about not telling me all the details, and I'm gonna be straight up. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think in life and in our different journeys, you you have different connections with people. Like I didn't know the extent of connections that my mom had with so many people until I had her cell phone after she passed, and I just kept it for a while, kept it on. I would get all these text messages from random people that I didn't know she knew, thanking her, for the impact that she had, and she's always listening and responding and talking them through. So that was like a light bulb moment for me. Like that's what I'm here for. People like corresponding and talking with me because I'm open. I'm gonna give you the truth, and I'm a great listener. I'm not always one to talk, but I'm gonna listen, and I'm gonna give you my two
Mm-hmm.
cents, especially if you ask for it. So that's how I move.
Yeah.
That's why I move the way I move because of that. It's like I know I'm here to help, so I help.
And I can vouch for that because I've called you plenty of times and be like, just listen. And you
Right.
quiet, listen to me go on and on and on and on and on. And then you like, okay, you want me to say something or I was just supposed to listen? You're like, what you need out of that? And again, that's what friends, that's what family do. I want to address some comments here because we're getting short on time and I want to bring Marcus in. I don't even know. Okay. I don't know that I can bring him on with you or what that's going to look like, but we're going to see. We're going to find out in a minute. So, um, babe, help me out with these comments because for whatever reason, I can't scroll up. Marcus is out of
Oh,
town, you guys. So that's why I am having this conversation with Tart by myself. Otherwise, he would be on with me. But because he's out of town, I'm solo tonight.
ain't
And
no
I know
problem.
he want to get on and talk to Tart. Um, so let me see. Let's see. I might be able to bring him on.
You were talking about
Nope.
I was gonna need a tutorial, huh?
Shut up. You did good. I'm proud of you. And then let me give you your roses about that because so I got to tell y'all this. Tart is not a social media person. He's not a video person. He's not any of that.
Uh-uh.
I have been bugging him for months to come on with me.
I
And
she's
finally,
gonna forget.
I finally got him to say yes. And so, thank you, bro, for agreeing to come on with me because I know this really is out of your comfort zone. Okay, so Marcus said Kim said it's ego that's connected to opposite sex friendships. Yule said my question was great. Joyce said you both are on point. Janelle said great question. I can't see any more comments. So I want to close out with us before I bring Marcus on. I want to close out with, like, what would your piece of advice be to somebody who doesn't feel comfortable with their mate having an opposite sex friend?
Ask yourself why. So look within. I always try to look within myself when something doesn't add up. Why am I thinking this way? So why do you feel that way? I mean, that's where the questions all begin, is with yourself. Like you said before, have you seen something in that dynamic that you maybe question? But even with that, you can't always go with that because your mind can play tricks on you.
Yeah.
And you may think you're seeing something when you're not. But ask yourself what's going on, why you feel this way. Look on your own history. Have you had any relationships with the opposite sex? If so, were they the kind where he was just being your friend or she was just being your friend until the opportunity presented itself, and then they tried to pounce? I mean, I know we see a lot of TV shows and videos where that's the case. So kind of just around those things. I mean, look inside, and that's still looking inside yourself anyway.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. Like, being able to, and that's another part about getting in a relationship with somebody that you trust, right? Because that's where it starts initially. And then trusting the fact that your partner knows how to make good decisions. Like, they're not friends with a person who's trying to eventually get in bed with them. They're actually friends with people that are friends with them. And so trusting your partner to start off, and then trusting your partner to make good decisions about who they have around. There are some men who I said were friends because they were friends to a male friend. But when I'm in a relationship, I had to disconnect with some of them because I already knew, like, okay, if they had the opportunity, they would try. So those people have been released. And I kept my real male friends. And so I'm trusted enough in my relationship that Marcus knows that I'm not going to do anything that puts our relationship at risk. So we got two more comments. Tara said, and in real life. Consuela says, ask yourself if your comfort is based in self or them. Is it mistrust or conditioning from the past? Yep. Also ask yourself if your discomfort is worth more than exploring the truth. Root cause analysis is so critical in a relationship. Boom, bam, right there. It starts with you. It starts with you.
Yep.
And you have to do the work necessary to see, where is this belief coming from? Where is this because all of these stigmas that are attached to opposite sex friendships, did you just take on somebody else's beliefs? Did you just take on somebody else's energy as it relates to opposite sex friendships? Like, what are we doing here? Is it really your belief? Is it really something that you believe in, or is it something that you just adopted because somebody else said it? And we know how that happens.
What kind of friend is your partner to anyone, to their male or female friends? Like, how are they in that dynamic? And is that friendship, they treat it the same with them as they do with the opposite sex? Because I do. I call you, I call you nigga all the time because that's just what we do. So if I'm calling you or Demai, is you my nigga.
And
no different.
In addition to that, it's imperative that your partner knows your friend, not to the level of, like I said, they might not become best of friends, but that I'm not just popping this friend up on you. So in that instance, there should be comfort along the way because you've always been aware. It's not like I've held you in the darkness about that. So
yeah, and we had that same conversation. A friend of mine that came back from when I was 19. I mean, I just had to keep that at a distance. We cool. I correspond with you on Facebook, but I can't go beyond that. I can't say this is my friend from when I was 19, but she ain't never heard of me. We've been together for 19 years, but I was, you know, you ain't never heard this person's name. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So don't be no fool either. Yeah, that's your friend, but don't be no fool.
Don't be no damn fool. Okay, so I'm gonna get you off, and I'm gonna bring Marcus in. Everybody, thank my best friend, my brother in the whole wide world. My best friend. This is the person that's been there through a lot of stuff. You know, he truly is my
Mhm.
brother, and I am so appreciative of our friendship. I'm so appreciative of our kinship. And if you can have that in a person, it shouldn't matter what sex they are, because again, a good friend, a truly good friend, can sometimes be hard to find. And when you have that, you have to hold on to those people. You just do. So thank you, Tart.
Peace. I'll talk to
All
you
right.
tomorrow.
Okay. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, bye.
All right, y'all. So I hope you all enjoyed the conversation with me and Tart. I am going to bring Marcus on. Babe, can you request to get on the video? Because it's grayed out. Like, I can't make the request to you. My apologies, you all. I'm working from different systems, and I cannot see all of the comments. And I'm used to Marcus moderating. It says unable to add guests. They can't join your broadcast at this time. What is that about, babe? You got to get in. Okay, it won't let you in. I don't know what's going on. All right. We rocking and rolling now. Hey, babe.
Hey, you can't rush it. You know, Facebook don't like it's not very fast.
Right.
Let it do its thing.
You're right.
Yeah. So my turn to get in on this action. So you two been talking about being friends, male friends, female friends, whatever all that is. Cool. But you're talking one-sided from a one-sided view. I'm the third wheel or the other perspective. And I'm let this be said, I have not a damn problem with it. I'm good with it. I'm fine and dandy with it. Mainly because you established that baseline in the beginning. We had that conversation, like date number one. You say, hey, I got my friends, some male friends. Cool. Now we could say all this, but all that doesn't mean anything without the action to back it up. Oh, we just friends. Or that's my partner from this and such and such. That don't mean shit without the backing it up. I need because what made me feel comfortable was the things you did to reinforce that these are just friends. One, you introduced me to all of them. That's main. That's main. Two, this is the big one. All your phone conversations, I, it was no problem hearing them. If I walk in a room and your tone or how you speaking to somebody doesn't change, or if you're riding in the car and your friend calls you and you pick up on the speakerphone in the car, the Bluetooth, and don't miss a beat, that ain't shit to hide. You ain't hiding nothing. So those are important qualities. Then it's something else that what came up. You know, when we say when I met these friends, we had to get, or I had to get the vibe from them that they was wasn't trying to be more than friends. They ain't want no romantic interludes, or I don't know if that's even a word. They ain't want to get down with you like that. Shit. You know, these are things that has to be established because I have to be comfortable with if I'm gone a week at a time. Do I feel that you're going to do something? No. Do I even feel like you're going to do something with anybody else besides your friends? No. And I'm going to deviate one little bit. I'm going to go to Tard. There should be no more talking about the ledge because we should not have that issue.
No more. What?
Talking you off a ledge because we shouldn't be having that issue. That's just a joke.
What ledge? Oh. I was late. I had to slow down.
Yeah. But, so these are some of the things, another thing that sticks out to me, what made it even more comfortable having these friends, and I can, hell, matter of fact, three of them, well, four are in the group. Well, three of them are in the group on this chat right now. I ain't gonna, can I say their names, babe?
Yeah.
So you got Tart we just talked to, you got Yule in there, and you got the Butlers. Those are three of them that was set from the beginning. That I hear you talk to on a regular basis. And what they did was like they pulled for me. They was in my corner, and that was just a more reinsurance. Like you, I'm not gonna get on you, but what he did was something special to me. He was like, I appreciate you letting her be my friend. But anytime you need me to pull back or pull out, just let me know. That was a sign of courtesy and respect from one guy to another, from man to man, and that's a lot. Now, and I have to give props to you as well on the fact that how you handle yourself being in my spot, because the people who you're friends with have women in their life. And I heard you with my own ears say, hey, if there's a problem with me being their friend, let me know. I'll back off. I'll back out. Because you're not here to mess up anybody's household. You're just your friend. And for you to do that means that you would respect what we got going on. Because one of the things that I was hearing, I think I read in the comments, it was about a man's past or a person's past. I won't say a man, but a person's past. Hell, I've been one of them. I called a friend. I touched them, but I couldn't bring that into our relationship. Because I had to make sure I knew you and I know me. I know you well enough to say, hey, this is not her. And what I can say about you is, if you feel somebody's about to cross the line from being friends to romantic, you will release them. You will release them.
Why? And that's she keep my husband in line. Because I think I'm everybody's big sister.
So let's talk about that. Hold on. So I'm gonna talk about that real quick.
Okay, talk. I'm listening.
Okay. The way you talk to your friends and how y'all go back and forth, and how y'all friendly and mean at the same time, I know it's nothing romantic, because if it was, it would be a toxic relationship. Like when you talk to Tart, hey, ugly, the fuck? If you were romantic with somebody, you gonna call them out like that? No. So it can't be like that. So this is what I'm saying. This is the things that's established, the trust levels that you have established and backed up with your actions. You have to back up their actions with the actions, because I could tell you anything. Like Tart was saying, at one time you was a cousin. Now you graduate to the sister. But when you was a cousin, it was just a lie to say because we don't want to tell nobody the truth that hey that's a good friend of mine because everybody's not going to understand that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have no problems with you going somewhere or meeting these friends somewhere because guess what? One, you're gonna tell me. You don't have to, but you'll tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Two, you're gonna tell me what y'all gonna do and talk about. You don't have to because I don't care. But those are the things that establish the security of you having male friends. This this comes to basically say you can have the male friends you want. I don't give a shit. I trust you because I trust you wholeheartedly, and that was one of the biggest things that kept coming up in trust, 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 trust. Yeah, trust is big, but trust is not necessarily given but earned.
Right.
So you earned it by your actions. So I don't bother me. You know,
Yeah.
and so don't get me wrong. Now, does it always going to be that way with other people? I don't know. I don't care. All I know it's proven fact that it can work.
Yeah.
There's people in the comments who said they had male friends, and it works. It's the actions and the character of the person you're with that's going to make it work. Plain and simple.
Yeah. And I do want to say this to you, babe. I appreciate how you embrace the fact that I have these male friends and you embrace them too. And you've become friends with them as well. And so I really appreciate the fact that you're comfortable with that because that was important. That's why I had a conversation with you early on and I communicated that with you early on because like I said, that is something that is definitely a deal breaker because these are people who have been in my life and who have been amazing friends to me. And if the person that I'm with is not trying to establish a trusting relationship where that's not where my integrity doesn't come into place, where you're like, oh, I have to question her integrity, then you shouldn't be with me to begin with. Because you should be able to trust me in all aspects. Unless I do something that shows you otherwise, there's no reason not to trust me. I am the friend to men who tell my male friends, look here, don't be a fool. I am that friend. And a lot of times what's funny is I'll be like, why you still my friend the way I talk to you? Like, sometimes I'll be like, and you hear how I talk to some of them. I'll be like, I gotta be a little bit rough with them. But
a little bit.
Tart said it early on in the video. He said, there are times that I've had to give him a different perspective. I've had to be very direct with him about certain things. He's getting a different perspective from a woman's side. And it's not him running to his boys and trying to get, hey, man, I got this shorty over here that's trying to do such and such. When he called me and say that, I'm like, come on, bro, don't do that. Like, don't get yourself in that situation because you're going to be in a situation that you can't get out of. And then you're going to be like, oh, man. So then you're going to be calling me like, oh, look what I done. And I'm be like, I told you, dummy. So because I'm very direct with my male friends and they tend to appreciate it because I'm honest and I'm saying the things that I'm saying out of love and care for them. And it's not coming from a malice. It's not coming with any malicious in my no malice in my heart about it. So
So one more thing I want to bring up, babe. Somebody in the comments said mentioned ego about a man's ego, and that can play a part. And I'm gonna tell you how it can play a part. If you at any time make me feel less than number one, I think that's when my ego would kick in. I think that would kick in for any male. Because when you have male friends, I still have to feel like that I'm number one. And you do that exceptionally well. You have to make me feel like I'm number one. I'm priority over all other friends. You may know them 20 years, but when you agree to be in a relationship with me or with each other, you have to make me feel like a number one. You do that very well because that's and then they get my ego. Then I feel like I'm playing second fiddle to just a friend. And
Right.
That's where I think somebody said, it's a tricky terrain. Yeah, it can be a tricky terrain because I don't care what anybody say. Most men have egos, and if we don't do something to our ego, if you don't actually play to our egos to some manner, it could damage. It can be emotional damage. With,
Yeah.
with something of a nature of platonic friends, and to me that's important to me because you make me feel like a number one. I have seen when you said, okay, you talking and like got a couple minutes. Okay, my baby's home. Let me talk to him. Give him something. Give him his time. And, that's done. And I can be like, no, I'm good. But you like, no, I need to give you your time.
Right.
That's part of the relationship aspect of knowing our lanes or where we sit in each other's life. Make sure I'm not feel like I'm number one. I gotta make sure you feel like you're number one. If that doesn't happen, I think we might be going the wrong direction.
Right. Right. And Tara even said, and females, like no friend, no anybody should come before your relationship, and it has to be a great balance, a great balancing act. Even last night when I was on the lounge last night as a guest with Yule, at the end of that live, I was like, giving Fee her flowers because they were already married when we became friends. The same thing with Dave. They were already married when we became friends. So it's like when you have people that are already in relationships and then you come along and establish a friendship with people, that can be challenging sometimes for people, and so you want to make people feel comfortable. You want to be very communicative. You want to be very honest. You want to be very transparent so that everybody feels comfortable and nobody feels like, who is this new person that just popped up? How is this new person your friend? But in this journey of life, you're going to meet people along the way. Some people are going to get released for whatever reason, and some people are going to be added. And so are we being open to that? So I appreciate the wives and the girlfriends that accept the fact that I'm just the little sister to most people, the little big sister. So, I think that those things are key and they're important. And again, having those conversations, being open, being honest, being transparent, and making sure your partner is privy to those things. Don't shut them out. Don't close them out. Don't make them feel like you're not being completely honest with them, because that's when doubt will creep up in their minds. Like, well, why didn't you tell me this? I'll probably overshare with you stuff so that you are comfortable. I'm going to go here first, then I'm going over there. I'll call you in between stops. I'll call you in between conversations, because that's my duty, is to make sure you feel comfortable. Yeah, these are my friends and these are people who I consider family, but you're the person that I'm with, and I want you to feel as comfortable as anybody else. You're supposed to feel the most comfortable.
Exactly. And see, and this is why I don't have no problem with it. But you know what I was doing, babe, you know what I was thinking? Not for us, but just in general. A lot of guys or women will say at the beginning, when you have that conversation, I have these opposite sex friends, and they'll say, but when they don't really understand it, and they don't know, they really didn't do the work on themselves to really to comprehend it, then they get in the middle of a relationship. Now it's a problem. So that's nothing with tricky terrain. So I think if somebody into a relationship and when they have opposite sex friends, at least for a while, I think they should really pay attention to their mate and make sure they really are comfortable with it, because a lot of people say at the beginning, but they may not really, they may not know they didn't mean it for real. So you have to be really observant.
Yeah.
up. I'm glad she froze with a smile. Um,
Corey keeps calling me, so he keeps interrupting the live. He did call me 4 times. I'm like, decline.
Well,
Froze
know,
up. I'm
we
sorry.
that's fine. We know. All I was saying that people need to make sure that when they say they're good with the opposite friendships at the beginning, that it's consistently that way throughout. Keep an eye on your partner and make sure and watch them, because make sure they are truly good with it, because they say they are, and they think they are, but they may not really be. Then you got to have another conversation, and you have to work some things out.
Yeah, and you see, like sometimes they don't know until they're in the situation. True. It's like you don't know what emotions are going to come up, until you're actually in it. And so some people, when they answer that question early on, and they're like, yeah, I'm good with it, but because this has happened to me in the past, I was able to tell very early on, like, I think maybe they thought they would be okay with it, but they're actually not okay with it. And so I don't want to proceed in the relationship because I don't want this to be a problem in the relationship. Because as you see in our relationship, you are put first. So there's nothing to feel insecure about or feel like, this is going to happen. So I don't want you to be in a relationship with me if you are going to be insecure about my friendships, because that's going to constantly be coming up, and that's going to cause issues in the relationship at some point. It's going to be problematic that you're telling me you're okay with it, and then later you're not. So both sides have to pay attention, because I'm paying attention to you, but you should also be paying attention. You know that I told you early on that these are friends and that this is important to me and my friends matter, but you turn around and you get upset. And so, okay, now how does that affect me? Because now to appease you, I'm not talking to my friend as much, which is affecting me, because I need my friends for X, Y, or Z, and now I'm not talking to them as much to appease you. And so I'm not in a healthy relationship anymore. And that's why I say that's a conversation that we had on our first date. That's why I bring it in early, because I don't want that to be an issue down the road. And so once you knew, and then once I introduced you to people kind of early on, I had to watch me to see how you would react, and what that, and then I had conversations with you. I would come to you. How do you feel about this? Are you good with this? Okay, I want you to come to St. Louis so you can meet Tart. I want you to come to St. Louis so you can meet these people that are close to me. So it wasn't just you hearing phone conversations. It was you actually meeting people, and you actually establishing your own rapport and relationships with them as well, so that you were at your highest comfort level. That was my goal, so that you were in your highest comfort level, so there's not a question.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, I was going to say you could communicate it, but your actions are going to really tell it.
Yeah.
To me, that's just how I'm going to look at it. I could say, especially I have told lies in my past. I told some good lies too. Some lies I told so good I believed in my damn self. But the actions will tell it. You could tell me sun is out. You tell me the sun is out. I won't fully believe it till I look out the window. So other than that, that's all I have to say about it, babe. You got, you know what I'm saying? This is opposite sex friendship is all doable, you know, if you are with the right people, both friends, not just one friend, both friends.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, if one knowing you, if the friend you thought was a friend is drifting away from friendship to a romantic, they gotta go.
Yep.
Plain and simple. All right, I'm done. I get with my little rant.
Well, that wasn't a rant, but this was a good conversation. It sparked a lot of conversation when I posed the question on yesterday. And I'm glad that you all were engaged with that particular topic. I'm glad that you all were engaged on the live. Thank you all for attending. Thanks for those that will come back and watch the replay. I really, really appreciate it. In closing, I want to say this. We are coming up on the end of 2022, and we have had a lot of growth. We've had many events, and we hope to do plenty in 2023. So that's going to take a lot of support from you all in order for us to do some of the things that we really want to do in 2023. So if you guys will continue to engage and continue to support at this level, there's nowhere else to go but up. And when I say up, that means healing. That means growth. That means networking. That means so many great positive things for everybody in this group. And so thank you all for entrusting us to lead these conversations. We really would like to hear from you all about topic suggestions as we close out the end of the year, because there are going to be some changes in 2023 as it relates to the lives. So the last weekend, the last Wednesday of the month, we're not doing anything, but we're going to have the last live is going to be our ambassador. Tamara will be on with us to close things out. Tamara has been an amazing support. She's invited a ton of people in the group. She's really put the word out about the group. She believes in the vision of what we're doing. And so she has truly, truly supported us in every way. And we want to be able to support her, bring her in live to talk about a lot of different things. So we love y'all. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all, babe. I love you. I appreciate you. We doing this thing. We doing this thing. It's been over a year, and Data Firm The Real is just growing. As you see, we have merchandise. Make sure you go out to the website and check out some of the merchandise we have. We'll be adding stuff as we continue to grow. You can also check out the photos. Events will be on there and all of that. So any closing words, babe?
No, just love, positive. Let's keep it moving.
All right. Thanks to my brother Tart for coming on and joining me. He completely stepped out of his comfort zone. So y'all show him some love in the comments. He stepped way out of his comfort zone to do this, but I'm glad that he agreed to have the conversation so that you all could see. It does exist. It does. All right, y'all. We love y'all. Till next week. Peace.
Out.